Good evening, Zimbabwe. Welcome to Livetalk. We are coming to you from Studio 7 at the Voice of America in Washington. It's a Friday, March the 18th, 2022. I am Ntungamili Nkomo.
And I'm Marvellous Mhlanga Nyahuye, broadcasting from my home in Washington, D.C. due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Tonight, we continue the conversation around the March 26 by-elections. Also, we will be looking at the issue of Godfrey Karembera, a prominent Triple C supporter or activist who was arrested and tortured in police custody yesterday. And the big news today from government is that the police who tortured him have been arrested. Marv.
Yes, Ntunga, as you said, we're going to be looking at the escalation of political violence as we go to the finishing line of the by-elections, which will be held on March the 26th. We'll also be looking at what the leaders of the major political parties are saying regarding the issue of violence during this campaign. We saw this last weekend the leader or the deputy for ZANU-PF, Vice President Chiwenga, calling on ZANU-PF parties to desist from violence. And we also saw the leader of the Citizens Coalition of Change in Beitbridge in Zimbabwe doing the same, castigating violence during this runner-up to the March 26th by-elections. And we saw also the leader of MDC Alliance, Douglas Monzora, also calling for non-violence during this campaign. But what we're seeing on the ground is that some of this violence is allegedly being perpetrated by the police. So it will be interesting to see and hear from those that will be discussing with us tonight what the major way forward will be.
Yebo lingaba lichona njani emakhaya sikuhlelo lwe-live talk lamhlanje sixoxa ngodaba lwemikhankaso yokhetho eqhubekayo endaweni ezitshiyeneyo zelizwe. Siyazi ukuthi ukhetho lolu olwama by-elections luza kwenziwa mhla ka-26 okungangokuthi kungeviki ezayo ngomgqibelo akusela sikhathi. Ngakho ngaliphela sonto amabandla ezombusazwe yazaba egcwele ndawana yonke dinga usekelo esenza lokho esingathi ngama final pitches. Sizaphatha njalo udaba lwelunga lebandla le-Triple C, ibandla lika babuchamisa phela uGodfrey Karembera odume kakhulu ngegama lokuthi ngumazibaba beshanduko. Sibone izolo bhaxabulwa kabuhlungu ngamapolisa ngesikhathi valelwe ngemva kokubotshwa. Amapolisa athi udale ukungahlaliseki okuthiwa i-disorderly conduct, kodwa abebandla lakhe abe-Triple C bathi cha ubotshelwe ukuthi ubegqoke imvunulo yebandla elithanga lokukhankasela ukhetho eHarare, ecela abantu ukuthi bavotele uchamisa lebandla lakhe. Kube lokuthukuthela okukhulu, ngisho le diplomatic community bagcine beposta kubo Twitter la kwezinye inkundla imifanekiso yalubaba ebhaxabulwe kabuhlungu emhlane lapha besithi hayi lokho ikwephulwa kwamalungelo okusegcikeni, uhulumende weZimbabwe kumele athathe amanyathelo. Ngakho lamhlanje sibone ugatsha olubona ngokwethulwa kwemibiko lusethula umbiko lusithi lona amapolisa achaye umazibaba beshanduko lo asebotshiwe, kodwa kachongo ukuthi kubotshwa amapolisa amangaki lokuthi azabhekana laliphi icala. Kodwa that's an interesting development there. Esiphehle inkulumo ebantwini, abanye bathi hayi lokhu kuveza sobala ukuthi uhulumende uyawulandela umthetho, kodwa abanye bathi cha lapha kuvalwa nje abantu amehlo ngoba ubudlova lobu sobuchayekile. Yikho uhulumende efuna ukubonakala ukuthi wenza something Kodwa bathi hayi akulalutho oluzakwenziwa emapholiseni la. Singazi-ke ukuthi yozala Nkomoni khonapho. Yilo udaba esingalo-ke lamhlanje, udaba lwemikhankaso eqhubekayo kanye lodaba lokuhlukuluzwa kwalubaba. Sikhuluma nje ulaliswe esibhedlela, kakwanisa ukuthambisa, ukuchema kanye lokuhamba, uyaphakanyiswa nje. Njalo uchamisa uhambe wayambona esibhedlela lamhlanje Mafi.
Aiwa, tinokuchingamidza ine mufaro pano pachirongwa chedu cheLivetalk nemusi wechishanu March 18. Sekutaura kwaita mumwe wangu Ntungamili Nkomo, nhasi tichange tiri kutarisa isu nyaya yemhirizhonga yatiri kuona iri kuitika munyika pari zvino. Tichange tiri kutarisa nyaya yekusungwa kwakaitwa mumwe mutsigiri webato Citizens Coalition for Change, vanozikanwa ivo nezita rekuti madzibaba veshanduko vaGodfrey Karembera nezuro, vakawanikwa vachirohwa zvakaipisisa vari mumaoko emapurisa. Saka toda kunge tiri kuzeya ipo pano kuti zviri kuitika izvi zviri kufamba sei, tichionawo zvakare kuti hurumende yazivisa nhasi kuti mapurisa ayo akawanikwa achishungurudza vakarembera nekuvarova vachawanikwa ivo vachisungwa nezvimwe zvakadaro. Asi vazhinji vari kutarisa kuti asi izvi zvinomboitika sei munyika umo pasi rose rakatarisa panyaya yekutyorwa kwekodzero dzevanhu. Saka ndo zvimwe zvatichange tiri kutarisa ipo pano, tichitarisa zvakare kuti gariro yema-by-elections yakamira sei. Taakutarisa kuti taakusvika kumagumo ekuti vemapato vawanikwe ivo vachitsvaga rutsigiro. Tinoona kuti ma-by-elections aya akusvika kwamvura yacheka makumbo, asi nyaya yemhirizhonga iri kuwedzera nyanya kune avo vanoita ivo zvematongerwo enyika vakamirira mapato anopikisa sebato reCitizens Coalition for Change. Taona mutungamiri webato iri vaNelson Chamisa vachienda kunoshanyira vakarembera muchipatara nhasi. Tikanzwa pavhidhiyo yatichange tiri kuisa pamapeji edu eFacebook vachitaura vakarembera mafambiro akaita zvinhu kuti vakarohwa zvakaipisisa nemapurisa vari muusungwa, asi pari zvino taona kuti vange vakatorara vari pamubhedha. Saka ndo zvimwe zvatichange tiri kutarisa kuti takatarisa kuti taakusvika kumagumo ekuti mapato emunyika atsvage yatingati yerutsigiro rwema-by-elections. Chii chichange chiri kuitika iro vhiki rino? Tinoona kuti vhiki rapfuura mutungamiri webato reZANU-PF kana kuti muteedzeri wemutungamiri webato reZANU-PF vaConstantino Chiwenga takaona vachitaura pamusangano wavo vachitsudza vatsigiri vavo kuti vasaite zvemhirizhonga. Tikaona zvakare vaChamisa veCCC vachitaurawo kuti vatsigiri vavo vasaite zvemhirizhonga. VaDouglas Monzura veMDCT vakataurawo zvakare pamusangano wavo kuti vanga vasingakurudzire nyaya yemhirizhonga. Saka vanhu vari kuti kosei mapurisa awanikwa achipindira munyaya iyi varivo vari kuita zvemhirizhonga. Ntunga.
Yebo Mav, uyichaye khanda lapho umbuzo omkhulu ngokuthi amapholisa abakhokheli bezombusazwe bebekhuza lapho ukuthi abantu bachiyane lodlakela. Kodwa amapholisa yiwo asebonakala hamba phambili kudaba lodlakela lolu. We have our guest tonight, that's Mr. Regis Charumbira, chairman of ZANU-PF in North America, including Canada, as well as Mr. Tawanda Dzokora, chairman of the CCC, Citizens Coalition for Change in North America. Let me come to you first, Mr. Dzokora. Police officers are in custody tonight for allegedly torturing your activist Mazibaba Be Shanduko. Is this a turning point? Kana kuti makumbo enyoka?
Makumbo enyoka. Thank you, Ntunga. Thank you, Tete Marvellous. Magadi muri Zimbabwe yakateerera. Apana zviripo. We know what the government does. It's called catch and release. They killed one of us in Kwekwe. they injured over 20 people in Kwekwe, and the perpetrators of that violence, some of them are already out on bail. And now we are seeing a repeat of the same thing. They assault someone severely, and it's almost tantamount to attempted murder. And those people, we are hearing that they've been caught. They are now in jail, but we don't know whether it's going to be another Kwekwe incident where people are caught, just to quieten down the noise from the people and from the international community, and then in a few weeks' time they are released. That's what the government has been doing. And I'm saying the government. I'm not saying ZANU-PF, because this is state-sponsored violence. It's government-sponsored violence, and it's coming right from the top. Police officers don't just wake up killing people, beating up people, abducting people, assaulting people. They don't do that. In Zimbabwe, we have a professional army. We have a professional police force. But we do have a few people, a few bad apples among those good people that are being influenced by the government to cause mayhem within the opposition ranks. I think you heard what Vice President Chiwenga said a couple of weeks ago. He was on air and he declared that President Chamisa must be crushed. The CCC supporters must be crushed. Violence begets violence. If you hear a senior leader, a top leader speaking like that, it has ripple effects. If the people below that person, the people who believe in that person, the ZANU-PF youth and everyone else and the supporters, they will start acting in a violent manner. You see, all of us in CCC, we are peaceful. Even when we are in our spaces, even when we are on social media, we are speaking peace, because that is what President Chamisa does. At every opportunity, at every turn, you hear him speaking peace. He is a prince of peace. He speaks peace. Every time he's spreading the gospel of peace. You have never heard him telling people to go and beat up those people that assault us. He even tells everyone that we have the ability. We have the people that can retaliate, but we are not a violent party. We do not subscribe to violence. We will not retaliate. And you also saw what he did in Marondera. People had come in their thousands. But after engaging with the police officers, as any leader should do, he went, addressed the people, stood up, addressed the Zimbabweans that were there, and begged them to go home and go home peacefully. And he said he doesn't want to see any one person, dying or getting injured because of political violence. That's a leader par excellence. And it will go down. It just trickles down. You will not see a CCC youth committing any act of violence, because they listen. We listen when our president talks. The country listens when President Chamisa talks. But we have a situation where Emerson Mnangagwa is in Kwadzana and is telling people that if it doesn't rain, he's going to beat up people. We have heard him talk like that. And we hear Chiwenga saying the CCC supporters must be crushed. And now they are being crushed. Now Mazibaba has been crushed. Now Nyahuye in Kwekwe was crushed. It happened immediately after Chiwenga had made those pronouncements. And then coming to the police officers themselves, we know, we have that information is there and is credible, that ZANU-PF or the government indeed is giving ZANU-PF youth uniforms, police uniforms, army uniforms, to go and masquerade as police officers and as army and start killing people and start abducting people and assaulting people. We have exposed those, seeing a person in his civilian and then seeing the next person the next day in an army officer. People live in communities. They are known that this is a police officer, this is an army officer. So this state-sponsored violence need to stop.
Thank you. The Zokora, please do stay on the line. Uyakhuluma lapho ubaba uZokora owebandla le-Triple C uthi hayi ukubotshwa kwamapholisa la akusho lutho kibo, uthi uhulumende uzama nje ukuvala abantu amehlo ngoba kube lokukhonona okukhulu emhlabeni jikelele ngokwenzakale kumaZimbabwe ngendlela ahlukuluzwe ngayo. Uchayiwe waxathuka emhlane lapha, sikhuluma nje ulaliswe esibhedlela, kakwanisa ukuthambisa, ukuchema uchema ngokuyisigcinga abamfake khona kanti njalo lokuhamba kenelisi mafu.
Aiwari ngaitibva taenda kuna Regis Busango veZANU-PF tinzwe kuti manzwa zvataurwa navadzokora vari kuti zviri kuitwa nemapurisa izvi hurumende inenge iri kuziya zviri kuitika, munoti chii?
Thank you very much, Studio 7. Yes, I think according to the police spokesperson, Assistant Commissioner Paul Nyati, he said Mazibaba Kanembera was trying to deface the statue of Mbianyanda in Harare. He came there very aggressive with the following that he had, chanting, singing CCC songs, and the police were alerted because there are police there that are guarding that statue of our country. So according to that, the police tried to restrain him, before they restrained him, they tried to speak to him and let him know that it's a criminal activity to do what he was trying to do. He continued advancing and almost attacking the police. And the police had to intervene and they used the maximum force that they had to stop that criminal activity that he was doing. I don't see anything wrong at all with what the police did today. The police are just doing their work, and I don't see the reason why.
Mr. Charupira, this is torture. Police are not allowed to beat up people like this.
Let me. I'm not done yet. Are you going to?
I had to interject because clearly what you are saying is wrong.
It's not wrong because I'm not done.
Okay, continue.
You call me to the interview to interject, or you call me to speak my mind?
Continue, sir.
So let me speak my mind.
Speak your mind, but we are here to ask questions.
Yes, you can ask after, but don't interject. Let me speak.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I don't see anything wrong for what the police did, because they had to stop what he was doing. What he was doing was criminal. Why was he trying to deface the statue of Mbianyanda? If he was tortured after that, I have no idea about that. What the information that I have is the events that took place at the statue of Mbianyanda. That's what I'm speaking about. I'm not speaking about the torture that happened. I don't have information about the torture that happened after that. If you have that information, then I don't have it. So I can only speak of the information that is in front of me.
But you just said there's nothing wrong with him being tortured the way he was tortured.
I say I didn't talk about torture. You are the one who is talking about torture. I never mentioned torture.
Okay, what did you say? What are you saying? What are you approving of?
I am on record for what I said.
Okay, what are you approving of there?
I said Mazibaba Kanembera approached the police at the Mbianyanda statue, right? He was trying to deface the statue of Mbianyanda. He went there and he had an altercation with the police, telling the police what he wanted to do. He had a following with him, and he was very agitated. He had a following, and they were chanting CCC songs. So, are you trying to approve that? That was correct. That was right. Was he right to deface and to come against the police and try to deface the statue of Mbianyanda?
I'm here to ask a question.
No.
I'm here to ask. I'm here to.
That?
No, you are the interviewee. I'm the one interviewing you.
Yeah, but I say I'm asking you. Are you approving that?
Are you saying you don't see anything wrong with what the police did to this guy?
If something happened after the Mbianyanda, when he was after the act, I don't know. Like I said, I'm telling you, I'm not talking about torture. I don't know of any torture that happened to him after. I'm talking about the events that took place at the state of Mbianiand. That's what I'm talking about.
But events here, because we are talking about torture, this guy was arrested and tortured in police custody. I'm sure you've seen the pictures.
I don't know if he was arrested and tortured after. I'm talking about the arrest. I'm talking about the events at the arrest. That's what I'm talking about. So
okay.
let's not try to confuse it.
Okay, let me tell you the facts then.
Yeah.
This guy was arrested and tortured in police custody. That's why tonight some police officers have been arrested.
Okay, that's fine. So, but you are the one who is talking about torture.
Do you condemn his torture?
If it's about torture, I don't agree with anybody being tortured. But I don't agree with anybody trying to attack the police and try to deface the statute of Mbianiand. Do you also agree that he was wrong to try to deface the statute of Mbianiand?
You can't ask me that, sir.
Why not?
I'm not here to answer questions. You are here to answer questions.
No, we are here to. It's a discussion. This is an interview, right?
Yes, and I'm here to lead that discussion, but not to take questions from you. Still, it's okay. Mr. Vusango, qhubeka usecingweni rambai muri parunhare apo. Liyamuzwa lapho ubaba uVusango ngowebandla leZanu PF. Ngizama ukumbuza lapho ukuthi uyabubona yini ububi bokuhlukuluzwa kwalomdliswa, kodwa hayi kukhanya sikasivumelani uyale lami ngiyale umbuza imbuzo, kodwa mina ngithi hayi cha, ulapha ukuthi mina ngimbuze imibuzo. I'm not a politician, so I'll not be saying whether this is right or wrong, but clearly one thing I'll stand against is that is the torture of any individual. Police are not allowed to beat up people, no matter under what circumstances, let alone the torture that we saw happening to this guy, Marv.
Aiwa apo tirikunzwa isu Ntunga anga ari kuvunza vaRegis Vusango panyaya yezvatakaona zvichiitika kuna madzibaba veShanduko Godfrey Karembera veCCC avo pari zvino vari muchipatara. Asi regai tiende kuna Vatawanda Dzvuku tinzwe kuti takatarisa zviri kuitika izvi, munoona mazuva asara aya ekuti mugadzirire maby-elections achizomira sei, tichitarisa nyanya panyaya iyoyi yemhirishonga nezviri kuitika munyika?
Regai ndimbotaura nenyaya yekudada kuzvidza kuri kuitwa nemunhu weZanu PF ari pano. Handisati ndamboona zvakadaro kuti unoona munhu akakuvara sekukuvara kwakaita madzibaba, wouya pamberi penyika uchitaura kuti hauna basa nazvo, hazvina basa izvozvo, uchikurudzira kuti zvinhu zvakadaro zviitike nekuti munhu anga apara mhosva. Chero kuchinzi kwanga kwaparwa mhosva, isu toziziva kuti madzibaba chaakabatirwa kuti anotamba pamarali anenge akapfeka zveyero. Zviri kutaurwa izvo ndezvekunyepa, ndozvinoita Zanu PF pese painoda kuponda vanhu nekurova vanhu nekushungurudza vanhu inotanga kutsvaga nyaya zviri kuitwa navaVusango izvo kuti hanzi kudhifesa Mbuyananda, achidhifesa Mbuyananda kupi kwacho, nhema dzega dzega. Zviri kuitika izvi zvinorwadza kuti munhu akapotsa aurayiwa akapondwa mupolice camp. Mapurisa anofanira kuchengetedza vanhu, anofanira kuchengetedza macitizens. Kana uri mupurisa, kana uri mupolice camp, unofanira kufila safe, kwete kuti unopondwa, unozvambaradzwa zvakaitwa madzibaba. Munhu weZanu PF ouya pano achitaurira vanhu kuti zvinhu izvozvo hazvina basa, asi mapikicha ari kuaona ari kuita kunge bofu. Mapikicha ari kuaona ari pamberi pake, ari kuona kuti munhu akazvindikitwa nemapurisa. Mapurisa haana kodzero yekuisa mutemo mumaoko awo, chero zvichinzi kwaitika chii. Saka zvinhu zvakadaro izvozvo zvinobva zvangoonekwa kuti zvinhu zviri kubva kumusoro uku ihurumende iri kutaura kuti vanhu veCCC ngavaurayiwe, ngavapondwe. Muri kuona nanhasi, muri kuona ana Johanna Mamombe, ana Cecilia Chimbiri vachiri kungoshungurudzwa. Ndo nyaya dzimwe chete idzodzo, asi Zanu PF inenge ichiuya pamberi pevanhu ichiramba. Ndodzokera kumubvunzo wabvunzwa natate Marvellous. By-elections asvika, isu seCCC hatidzokere mumashure. ndozvinoitika. Tinozviziva kuti pese patinopinda pasarudzo tinopinda tiri under protest. Ground harina kumira zvakanaka, rakarerekera kuZANU-PF. ZEC haisi kudivi revanhu, ZEC iri kudivi rehurumende reZANU-PF. Mapurisa mamwe acho haasi kudivi redu, ari kudivi rehurumende. Masoja ndizvozvo, kune nhubu dziriko kumasoja ikoko dzinomira nehurumende vachirambidza marari edu kuti aenderere mberi. Makaona zvavakaita kumasvingo kuti vakamhanya vakanobhuka mastadium ese nechii, zvese izvozvo zvikuru kuitira kuti varambidze Triple C.
Siye kumhlonishwa wethu wesithathu, our third guest, ubaba uEfidlela Ncube, ingcwethi ecubungula ezombusazwe. Ncube, ubona kusiba lokhetho olukhululekileyo yini lapha?
Ukuthi kube lokhetho olukhululekileyo i-free and fair election. Impawu ezikhona phansi ngezokuthi kabazinikelanga ukuthi kube le-free and fair election, kabazinikelanga ukuthi kuhlonitshwe amalungelo abantu. Lokho abakwenzayo kungokunye nje kwezinto ezilutshwane abafisa ukuthi bazenze ezokuthenga amehlo abantu. Kodwa hayi, impawu ezikhona phansi zitsho ukuthi ngabantu abasaqhubeka ngoludala unyawo esilubone kusuka eminyakeni engu-40 kuze kufike namhlanje, ungahloniphi abantu, ungahloniphi imithetho, ungahloniphi impilo, ungahloniphi ukhetho olukhululekileyo, yokubusa nje kabi.
Sicela uqhubeke ubambile khonapho, Baba Ncube, as I bring in my co-host, Maf.
Ntunga, that's a very, detailed explanation there from Mr. Ncube regarding what we're seeing happening in the country, especially when it comes to Zimbabwe, looking at, their relationship with the international community. Chombofunza vavusango kana varipo veZANU-PF kuti zviri kuitika izvi munyika nyaya yemhirizhonga hazvizokanganisa here zvamuri kuedza kuita imi kuti mudyidzane nenyika dziri kumadokero pamusoro peukama hwenyu, nokuti tinoona vachitaura ivo kuti Zimbabwe inofanira kuwanikwa ichiremekedza kodzero dzevanhu, asi apa tiri kuona kodzero dzamadzibaba ava veshanduko kuti dzakatyorwa nemapurisa.
Vavusango. Comrade Charumbira, muchiripo here? Vasimuka Comrade Ameno Kwavainda. I'm sure he will be back shortly. Siqhubeke khonapho Ncube. Siyazi ukuthi kuhulumende odluleyo kaTsvangirai Lomgabe, uhulumende wenkazatho loya, kwakuvunyelweni ukuthi amapholisa azafundiswa ngendaba zamalungelo oluntu, kodwa akusenziwanga lokho, asazi ukuthi kwaphelelaphi. Asikho isidingo yini sokuthi ikwenziwe uhlelo olunjalo ukuze amapholisa abekwazi ukuthi umuntu kachaywa, isibotshwa kasichaywa, even umuntu ebulela umuntu, umthetho awuvumi, ipolisa umsebenzi walo ngokubopha umsolwa limfake ejele.
Kuyadingeka kakhulu khona lokho ukuthi kwenziwe. Akusenziwanga ngokuba laba ababusayo bengazinikelang ukuthi kube lamapholisa ahlonipha umthetho lamalungelo abantu. Amapholisa eZimbabwe adinga lokho esithi phecelezi i-retraining, ukuthi kuqaliswe phansi afundiswe i-policing, ukuhlonipha umthetho lokuthi bahlonipha amalungelo abantu, hayi ukuthi bachaya abantu babulala abantu njengalokhu sikubona. Kodwa-ke singakhohlwa ukuthi lokho abakwenzayo abakwenzi bebodwa, bakwenza ngokuba kuligunya kusuka kugunyaziwe ngumbuso okhona ngaleso sikhathi, umbuso okhona ngweZANU-PF. Amapholisa, they are not different from the conduct of government. Indlela eziphathe ngakhona ibonisa ukungahloniphi amalungelo abantu. Njalo nxa befundiswa izikhathi eziningi laba babebone mhlambe abesibuthweni labesipholiseni behlabela, kuhlatshelwa zona njani ingoma esizizwa zihlatshelwa ngabebandla leZANU-PF nxa ngabe babedlula laphana ekuseni begijima izingoma zemaralini leziyana kubonisa ukuthi abaningi babo kabawubona umehluko wokuba lipholisa lokuba isigijimi seZANU-PF. Lokho kumele bathole i-retraining, ukuqeqeshiswa kabusha ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi basebenzela abantu beZimbabwe hayi iZANU-PF, ukuthi basebenzela iZimbabwe hayi iZANU-PF, ukuthi bonke abantu kungakhathalekile ukuthi basapota liphi iqembu kumele amalungelo abo avikele. Bavikele umthetho, bangavikeli ibandla elithile, bangakhethi uhlangothi kumbe iqembu elibusayo kumbe eliphikisayo, kodwa bakhethe uhlangothi lomthetho, balandele umthetho njengokunjalo, umthetho ohlonipha amalungelo abantu njengalokhu i-constitution ibhaliwe lemithetho yonke ethi abahloniphe imithetho.
And given the kind of violence that we have seen so far, Mr. Ncube, coming allegedly from ZANU-PF, which led to the killing of the CCC supporter in Kwekwe, as well as this violence from police officers, what do you see happening in the next in the election next year, the 2023 general elections, in terms of peace and violence?
Well, there is no doubt that there is going to be an increase in the incidences of violence. There is this increased disposition towards violent conduct by particularly besides the police, by the members of ZANU-PF, but they are used to this conduct. Every time we are approaching an election, there is always an increase in the number of politically motivated acts of violence against the political opposition, civil society, the press, and other dissenting voices or alternative voices for that matter. So we are likely to see that going up for a number of reasons. First and foremost, it is just in the DNA of ZANU-PF to be just violent when it comes to elections. But secondly, also, it depends on whether they think that they can win an election without relying on violence. And I think their calculation this time around, like they did in 2008 runoff, they are likely to lose the election. In the popularity contest, they stand no chance, and therefore the only way to retain power is to rely on force, on violence, on coercion, on intimidation, threats, and all sorts of things, even against the provisions of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. So we are likely to see higher incidences of violence than ever before, especially as we move closer to the election around January, February, March, until June. I predict, I foresee a higher turnout of violence than what we have seen before.
Thank you there, Mr. Ncube. Please do stay on the line as we go to our next guest. That's Mr. Vusango. He's back now. Vacharumbira. Vacharumbira tangata kukutswaga meno manga.
Sorry.
No problem. Mav wanga wabvunza mvunzo wanga watichizvia.
I wanted to also respond to Mr. Zokora because I lost my network and something was happening here. While we are waiting for Mav, if you allow me.
Okay, sure. So you will respond to both. Maybe starting with Zokora first. Mav here is saying kuti zvakaitika kuna madzibaba izvi nezuro hamuzi kuona here zvichikanganisa maefforts enyu ekudyidzana zvakanaka nedzimwe nyika dzakaita sana America neveku-EU. Saka you can go ahead mopindura yenyu both Vadzokora na Mav.
Okay, I'll just put in English and then quick in Shona for the interest of Mav. But thank you very much, my brother. I know I lost my network. Something was happening here. But I think I don't want the viewers and you, our moderator, to construe my message. What I simply said was the beginning of the case of which he was taken. I think if he was taken to the custody and then be tortured there, what before that torture, if that torture happened, before that torture, he was wrong for the act that he did. But now That's one case. Then we go to the second part of the case, that he was taken to the custody. And then the third case is that in the custody he was tortured. No, we don't allow torture. We don't allow any Zimbabwean or anyone in the world to be tortured by any individual. The time of torture is over, and the police don't need to torture anybody. If they arrest you, they find you against the law, they should just charge you. As simple as that. Why would the police then be torturing him? I mean, he's a citizen. He's allowed to protest. If this was an act of protest and he's doing it on a wrong spot, he will be arrested for doing that protest and chanting slogans of his party on a wrong platform. That can be a criminal case that he can be charged against, but not for him to be tortured. I would think that in any other setting, those police that tortured him, they should be arrested and lose their jobs. Because I wouldn't even try to tie them to the ZANU-PF party. Because look at this Studio 7. Whenever we have an election coming, whenever we have a human rights, United Nations Human Rights commissioners coming to Zimbabwe, we know the acts of Chamisa. Chamisa always round people and set them up. We had fake abductions where people like Joanna Mamombes, now they are retracting that we've never been abducted. And the truth is coming out. The truth will always surface. So we know that these are the acts of Chamisa. He knows that he is likely going to lose some of these by-elections very well. And that would demoralize the support of his supporters. We know that. So we are working as ZANU-PF. We are working with achievements. We are looking at what we've been doing as a party. We are not talking about the lip service. We see lip service coming from Chamisa, not from ZANU-PF. Comrade Mhlanga is working on a track record. We have got things on the board that he has done. And every Zimbabwean is seeing what he has done. And we are campaigning based on those things. We are not campaigning on torture. If the police are doing better, Chamisa says this is good. When the police are now trying to violate whatever they're violating, he tied them to ZANU-PF, which is very wrong. Why don't we deal with the police as an entity? And if we're dealing with ZANU-PF, let's deal with ZANU-PF as a party. There is no any association between the police and ZANU-PF. The police is part of government. He said, I'm the government. He said, the police are mine, the soldiers are mine, the judges are mine. Not too long ago on a rally. Today, what happened to the police that he says they belong to me? What has happened? We never claimed that lately. He's the one who is claiming that. Now we go to, I'll say it now in Shona, that ngatiregere kureverana nema nekuti tikauya pano pamhepo panapa toita kuti mastatements avamwe azonzi munhu ataura zvinhu zvisizvo. Ndoda kuti zvive parecord zvandataura kuti madzibaba pavaenda kustatue yambuya nehanda vaenda vakada kurwisana namapurisa vachida kuti vabvise musoro wambuya nehanda vakasungwa namapurisa. Tiri kunzwa information yokuti vaenda vakazonotochewa. Isi tiri kuti isusu kutocha hatikubvumidze. Munhu haafani kutochewa. Mapurisa akana anotocha munhu uyu, aiwa mapurisa vanofana kutosungwa kana kudzingwa mabasa. I'm sure kuZimbabwe mabasa kune vanhu vakawanda vakamirira vakaapply ku police force. Izvezvi there are so many applications. These police can be fired and we can hire new people who can respect the law and the people. They are there to protect and save and not to torture people. So that is very clear izvozvo. Now tichinda kuti kuisisi as ZANU-PF hapana kana zvinopotivhiringidza as ZANU-PF for our by-elections, even our 2023 election, even for our relations with other countries like United States and whatever, because we are on the record. We are doing good. We have not violated any human rights. If the police are doing that, they are not doing it wearing a cape like the cape I'm wearing with the face of Idi Mnangagwa. No, they are wearing a Zimbabwe police uniform, and there is no tie with ZANU-PF. They have not said we are sent by ZANU-PF to torture this man. No, did they look for him? This is what I'm saying. Sometimes the shenanigans that are coming from MDC or Chamisa, it's always they initiate the violence, and then later on they turn around and they say, "Look what they are doing to us." But my question is, why was himself also Madzibaba? Why was he going to try to defend the statute of Mhlanga? And also, why was he fighting with the police? But at the end of the day, I also have a question. Why was the police then torture him if they did? But if they've tortured him, then they should lose their jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. Siyabonga Mr. Charumbira usekubekile ke without any ambiguity there uthi hayi bona njengebandla leZANU-PF kabavumelani lokuhlukuluzwa kwabantu ngamapolisa uthi labo abasebebotshiwe amapolisa abotshiwe namuhla nxa kusenza kumele axotshe umsebenzi ngoba vele bona kabavumelani lokwenzakeleyo mafu.
Tomboenda kuna vadzokora totarisa kuti masvika kwamvura yacheka makumba takaona kuti rali yebato renyu reCCC rekumasvingo hatisati taziva kuti iri kuenderera mberi here kana kuti kwete. Zvamira sei pari zvino?
Tiri kufamba, tiri kushanda nehurumende inonyepa. We are dealing with a lying government, a panicking government. Lying, I think you can see here the government's representative in North America lying through his teeth that Joanna Mamombe and Cecilia Chimbiri retracted anything. They retracted nothing because there's nothing to retract. They were persecuted. They were sexually abused. And now he's lying in front of everyone that Mazibaba was trying to deface Mbuyana. And you know, that's a creation. There was nothing like that happened. Does he have any evidence? Police are supposed to investigate, first and then arrest someone, not arrest to investigate. He's just coming here and saying things that he can't substantiate. There's nothing like that. And nyaya mapurisa yaari kutaura, mapurisa ari kushandiswa neZANU-PF, mapurisa ari kushandiswa nehurumende, and unfortunately now they are being thrown under the bus because they are exposing the government. I don't know for how long they are going to stay under the bus, because we also know that the government does catch and release. They are in custody yesterday, but let's talk about this again. After 2 weeks, those people will be out on bail. And the issue, Tete Marvellous, yamataura yekumasvingo, tataura kare kuti vari kutya, ihurumende iri kutya kufarirwa kwavachamisa, kusimuka kwaita musangano weyelo, musangano wevanhu weCCC. Saka pavanongoona vanhu vakaungana,
Comrade Zokora Musati, I'm sorry to interject, Angu, muchenderera mberi, but mataura nenyaya kuti in a few weeks wanenge wabuda ne bail. Someone might say they have a right here. It's everyone's right, I'm sure, to be granted bail. Kana wasati wanuka nemosho andizvo.
Ndizvozvo chaizvo, but let that be equal to everyone. Why is it that Jacob Ngaruvume, Job Scala, and many other people, including Joanna Mamombe, Cecilia Chimbiri, Netai, they were denied their constitutional right of getting bail, and they spent over 2 months, 62 days in jail. Wopo Chingono, all those people were being denied their constitutional rights. So the application of law should be fair. It should be equal. No one should be, above the law. Why is it that ZANU-PF people are given bail when they've murdered people, when they've committed a crime that is clear that everyone is seeing, and then CCC members, CCC activists do not get the same treatment?
Now you can proceed.
Saka tangachitaura nyaya yekumasvingo, tanataka kumasvingo kuti iyi hurumende iri kutya vanhu, hurumende iri kutya mukurumbira nembiri yaPresident Chamisa yekudiwa nevanhu. Hurumende iri kuvhunduka chatikwatara, hurumende iri kuvhunduka vanhu. Handisati ndamboona hurumende inotya vanhu vayo vainofanira kunge ichitungamira. Mukaona zvese zvavari kuita, kuti takaenda kuGokwe vakatirambidza kuungana nekuti vari kutya kuti tinotora constituency yeGokwe. Tikaenda kumarondera, vanhu veCCC, vana veZimbabwe, macitizens, akauya neuwandu hwavo, kusina kana mumwe akapiwa mari kana akakwidzwa bhazi zvatinoona ZANU-PF ichiita. Vakaungana, ZANU-PF yakazviona ikarohwa nehana. Nanhasi papapa vari kuvhunduka zvakare zvichaitika kwaMutare, nekuti Manicaland yese ichasimuka. Sakubva inenge yakazara vanhu. ZANU-PF inobva yarwadziwa, ZANU-PF inobva yatya. Ihurumende iri kutya, iri kuziva simba rine vanhu, yozivawo zvakare simba raPresident Chamisa, vachitsigirwa nevana veZimbabwe. Ndosaka maona zvavaita kumasvingo, vamhanya vakanobhuka mastadium ese kuti vharira kunze, kuvharira triple C kuti isakwanise kuita rally yayo. Asi vana veZimbabwe vanoziva chero ikoko rally yacho kuitwa kana kusaitwa, vana veZimbabwe vanoziva vatungamiriri vavo, vachabuda neuwandu hwavo musi wa26 March vachinovhotera vanhu vatakaburitsa pazvivhitivhiti kuti ndo vanhu vari kufanirwa kuvhoterwa, vanhu vakamiririra triple C. Hazvititadzise izvozvo kuti tinge tichikurira panosvika musi wa26 March. Toramba tichikurudzira vanhu kuti vose vakanyoresa kuvhota, budai neuwandu hwenyu. Chero imi vari kuno kudiaspora mune chekuita nezviri kuitika kumusha, taurirai ana mai, ana mbuya, hama dzenyu vose vabude vaende vanovhota. Hakuna munhu anofanirwa kuti akanyoresa kuvhota otadza kuenda kunovhota. Hapana chikonzero chinokwanisira chinofanirwa kuti munhu atadze kuenda kunovhota. Handei tinovhota, tiite muZimbabwe muve neshanduko. Zvese zvekudzvanyirirwa zvatiri kuitwa izvi, zvese zvekushungurudzwa zvatiri kuita izvi, nhamo yese yatiri kuoneswa iyi, upfumi hwese hwatiri kutorerwa, corruption yese yatiri kuona ichiitwa nevanhu vehurumende nevanhu veZANU-PF ichapedzwa nekunge mutongo wemacitizens, utongo hwevanhu hwapinda uchitungamirirwa naPresident Chamisa.
Thank you there, siyabonga mnumzana Dzokora qhubeka usecingweni. Yakhuluma lapho babu Dzokora uthi hayi bengenza yonke imizamo abayenzayo abeZANU-PF lohulumende bezame ukubavimba ukwenza imihlangano yabo yokukhankasela ukhetho, kodwa uthi hayi kabasoze baphumelele. I see Mr. Charumpira wants to respond there. I'll come to you. But okwamanje siye kubaba uNcube, ubaba uYefidlela Ncube ingcwethi kwezombusazwe. Baba Ncube, kuma by elections la aza kwenziwa ngeviki ezayo ngomgqibelo, ubona izala Nkomo? Mnumzana Ncube? Hello Ncube. It seems we are having connection challenges there, lo baba uNcube. Kodwa sizazama ukumxhuma futhi. Mav ndawona bavusa kubantu bachida kupindira meno nevunzo ere kwavari futhi so that we can go once.
Ndoenderera mberi ndichiti pane nyaya yandabvunza iye nyaya yekutyorwa kwekodzero dzevanhu, kuti tinoona nyika dzekumavirira dzinopa hurumende yatingati machanza akawanda, asi tinoona zvatinenge takatarisa tiri kuno kana kunana America nekwatinenge tiri kuno, tinoona kuti mapurisa anofanira kunge ari pasi pehurumende. Kosei vasiri kunyatsotaurirana nemapurisa aya kuti vaite basa ravo pasina kumbunyikidzwa kwekodzero dzevanhu, nyanya kurohwa kwakaita madzibaba veshanduko ava vaGodfrey Karembera. Ndiri kudzokera panyaya iyoyo nekuti tinoona kuti ndo zvinhu zvinenge zviri kuonekwa nevanhu vari kunze kwenyika, nyanya idzo nyika dzavari kuda kutyidzana nadzo idzi.
Right, ndinotenda zvikuru nemubvunzo. I think tikada kutarisa mashandire eMDC kana kuti aChamisa, nokuti maMDC awandisa, tongotaura panyaya yaChamisa. Ndeyekuti he tries by all means kuita set up nokuita ties ZANU-PF to police. Isusu hatikondorori mapurisa ZANU-PF. Atina mapurisa is under government. It's an army government. They work on their own. Isi totokumbira kuti apply yavo ma licenses nema permits okuti tiite ma rallies edu. Kana vakati granda we do the rallies, kana vakati bvumi vakaramba kutiite tinorega. Tiri kuona isusu kana kuti mukaona kumaronda
azimombonyimwa ere comrade?
Tinombonyimwawo.
Rini?
Tinonyimwa chaizvo. Saka munoona kuti tikatarisa rally yekumarondera kuti MDC yaChamisa CCC yakarambidzwa nekoti. Hazvina kunge zvine ZANU-PF mukati izvozvo. Handioni kuita kuti ZANU-PF inenge ichipinda papi. Hatifani kuti isusu kana tikati zvinhu kana zvichitifambira toti mapurisa ari right. Kana zvinhu zvavakonana nemapurisa ikoko kusisi kwavo ikoko yonzi kwa ZANU-PF yaita kuti zvidaro. Handi tinoona kuti pana baba Monzora vakada kutracta rally yavo ikadzivisiwa last week, ikadzivisiwa nevanhu veCCC vachivachoropodza vachiva protest against zvinhu zvezvakanaka here izvozvo. Kana dekwa kuti zvava zvaitigwa CCC neZANU-PF taide tichitaura kuti chiinhasi, asi that one is not even a story, isn't it? But tozviona isusu kuti pese panoita mhirizhonga pachiita zvinhu zvinonetsa muZimbabwe panyaya yema-human rights, sei zvichingoinvolva CCC, why zvisingainvolve mamwe ma-political parties? Nokuti hatina, CCC is not the only political party muZimbabwe. Tine ma-political parties akasiyana-siyana. Saka ndoda kuti titichi, kana tichida kuti muZimbabwe muite peace, ma-elections aya tinoziva isu kuti ZANU-PF yakaita basa kudhara. Of course tiri kutotora masitsi akawanda, ende masitsi aya akaya tiri kuziva kuti Chamisa akatocalculate, akazviona kuti ndichahiwa mamwe masitsi akawanda. And then now is trying by all means kuti atange atoti chunhu changa chine violence before chatanga. Vari kutaura nyaya kuti vanhu vari kurambidzwa kunovhota, vanhu vari kuvhota, zvese zvavari kutaura zvese Zeki yakati it's not true. Vanhu ngavaregister kunovhota, munhu kana achida ngaaende kunoregister kunovhota. Iye Chamisa kana achikwanisa ngaasenge vanhu aende navo kuma-Zeki offices, vanoregister kuvhota, vavhote. Kana vachida kuita bus people kuma-polling stations, let them do that. Hapana munhu akambovamisa. But it's true that we are well prepared as ZANU-PF. We've been well prepared. That's why we are building the country. Chiti nyika inovakwa nevene vayo. Tiri kuvaka nyika hatimisi, basa tiri kuita, haticomplain, tiri kuramba tichita basa redu. We are not talking, but we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you there, Baba Charumbira. Charumbira ngumgcinisihlalo we-ZANU-PF ngapha eCanada lase North America. Simxhumile njalo ubaba uNcube uEfidlela Ncube ingcwethi kwezombusazwe. Ncube bengisithi mina ubona izala Nkomoni kuma by-elections la khona ngeviki ezayo.
Uthi amaqembu avele ejwayele ukwenza kahle okhethweni azakwenza kahle njengenjwayelo. Ungaba lo mehluko lapha lalaphana endaweni ezilutshwana kodwa kasikhangelelanga ukuthi kube lenguquko ebanzi kakhulu. Okuliqiniso ukuthi ngokuya kwesikhathi abantu baphelelwa lithemba akade bebambelele kakhulu kuZANU-PF, ikakhulu laba basebatsha. Kanti ke emadolobheni vele lokhe kunjalo bengabantu abasupporta amabandla aphikisayo. Singazi njalo emakhaya ukuthi inguquko zingaba ngakanani, kodwa ke okukhona ukuthi kalikho iqembu elingawina wonke ama-by-elections abe khona, amanye azawinwa ngelinye, amanye awinele ngelinye. Kodwa esizabe sikukhangele isibanga sokuwina esingathi thina izinga lokuwina, i-percentage lokuthi abantu basukume ngobuningi obungakanani besiyavota, okungasipha ukuqalisa ukubona impawu zika-2023 lanxa i-by-election ungekuyiqathanise le-general election, kodwa kukhona impawu ezingasifundisa okuthile sisiyafika ku-2023.
Kodwa singathi luqakathekile yini kakhulu lolu khetho njengoba kuzachithwa yonke into nje sokusenziwa ukhetho lwezwe lonke ngomnyaka ozayo.
Nxa sekuvuleke isikhewu emsebenzini onjengowekhansili kumbe ephalamende, umthetho uthi kumele kuvotwe. Akula ndlela yokuthi kungalandelwa umthetho. Asingeke sikhulume nge-rule of law sibe futhi siyayekela ukubamba ukhetho nxa isikhala sivulekile ukuthi kwenziwe. Yingakho sikhala ukuthi kwayekelwa ngesikhathi esifaneleyo, kwabalwa izinto ezingelamsebenzi, kwakhulunywa nge-COVID, kwathiwa ivimbelo le by-election. Kwakufanele ama-by-election enziwe ngaso nalesiya sikhathi, hayi ukuthi alinde kuze kube seduzane kangaka kulo khetho oluzayo olomnyaka olandelayo. Kodwa-ke asingakhohlwa ukuthi luqakathekile ukhetho lonke. Abantu kumele bakhuthale ukuthi basukume ngobuningi bayevota, bakwenze kube yinjwayelo ukuthi nxa kufanele bavote bavote. Abatsha ikakhulu abayibo abanengi, sikhuluma ngabantu abalanda i-70% yiba abancane, kuqakathekile ukuthi bayevota. Ukuze bavote bamele babhalise ukuvota kuwo wonke ama-election ungakhathalekile, i-by-election, i-general election. Abantu beZimbabwe kumele bafunde ukuvota kuso sonke isikhathi.
Hayi siyabonga Ncube, bekukuhle ukuba lawe kuhlelo.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu.
Umnumzana Efidlela Ncube yingcwethi ecubungula ezo mbusazwe. Marv, we are left with just 2-3 minutes. Let's wrap it up.
Ndongoenda kuna vadzokora tichiti tipewo mazwi ekupedzisira. Takatarisa kuti makusvika kwamvura yacheka makumbo mukutsvaga rutsigiro rwesarudzo iyi yemaby elections.
Vadzokora fone yavo yadona. I'm trying to call him apa. Okay, ndatovawana. Vadzokora tichivhara chirongwa apa. Hanzi naMarvellous wati chizvi yaMavi?
Ngavatipe mazwi avo ekupedzisira. Tichitarisa kuti campaign yasvika kumamvura yacheka makumbo. Masara nenguva shomanana kuti vachienda kuti vanhu vatsvage rutsigiro pamaby elections aya emusi weSaturday inotevera.
Vadzokora itai gaga nguva dzafamba. You only have 1 minute. Hanzi tipei mashoko enyu ekupedzisira tichipinda musarudzo idzi dzemusi wemugowera svondo rinouya.
Yes, all I can say is we close is violence on citizens is a criminal offense, particularly if it is being done under police custody. It is the duty of any president or government to uphold, defend, and respect the Constitution and protect all citizens. An attack on citizens is an attack on the Constitution. It is terrorism. ZANU-PF or the government of Zimbabwe is performing domestic terrorism against its own citizens, and this needs to stop. And as I finish, let me reiterate again to the people of Zimbabwe: the only way to stop this terrorist or this terrorism that is being done on the Zimbabwean citizens by the government is by turning en masse, coming up en masse on 26 March, so that we vote Triple C and President Chamisa and all the members of parliament and councillors are back in parliament and back in council.
Muri kuona muchibuda nezvipotswa zvingani nemugowera?
Tiri kutora zvose zvatakatorerwa, zvose zvakatorwa zvisiri pamutemo. Tiri kuatora maconstituency wayo, totora zvakare macouncils edu ose akabvutwa, totora futi mamwe eZANU-PF avanga vainawo kwavanenge vasina kubira kwese tinotora.
Thank you there vadzokora. Tinotenda zvikuru nekupinda muchirongwa chedu.
Thank you.
Mnumzana Tawanda Dzokora ngomgcinisihlalo webandla le-Triple C khonapha eMelika lase-North America yonke jikelele. Tidzokere kwamuri vacharumbira tivharire chirongwa. Hanzi hapana zvamuchanhonga navadzokora?
No, tinotenda. I think tiri kufamba nechirongwa chokuimba song yokuti povho yaramba. Povho yaramba kupuwa leave service ne-CCC nema-MDC. Yakaona kuti no, vakaunza chimurenga muna 1980. Navo vakakuvaka nyika yavo. Vakapa vanhu ma-inputs. Kwakanaya mvura vanhu vachakohwa. Even chero vanhu vakasakohwa. Command Agriculture yakatipa kuti zadze matura eGMB muZimbabwe. Amufuma akaita nzara futi with the leadership yaComrade Idi Mnangagwa. Vavaka mabridge, vavaka ma-roads. There's a lot happening. Vari kurefablisha ma-hospitals and all other things that they are doing. Investors are kutodzoka muZimbabwe. They are flocking back. We have got a lot to talk about as far as my achievements ZANU-PF nemukuru wedu Comrade Idi Mnangagwa. Saka basically tiri kuona isusu kuti MDC or CCC is already a loser on this by-election. No doubt about that. Of course vachanonga maviri kana matatu. Asi I'm telling you 70% of my posts they are coming back kumusha. Mombe dziriku the chickens are coming to roost. We are not playing, we are taking. We have already taken. So we are going to be celebrating the losing of MDC and the Chamisa as a whole. We see Chamisa as a selfish individual. He's calling the party CCC. He's individualizing the party. Magambona the party is not leadership. It's not going to structures. He's lying to the people. What kind of a political party with no structures? So Zimbabweans, be careful. You are being lured into something that you won't come out of. You are running away from the MDC. Changirai was better than this individualism. Individual as a party. Amuna party. I company achamisa. Mariese vako America kwese kuma donors. Iri kutorwa ichibikwa na chamisa ichidyiwa na chamisa na afadza mahere. Netimu yawe kuso. Imabana chamuri kuwana. Saka vanhu veZimbabwe mukai endai munovhota by election. Voter party nokupai inputs. Voter party iri kudhiririra mabohos. Every constituent iri kudhirirwa maboho nemabohos akaodhwa na president kubva kuIndia. Hakuna mvura kwese kuri kuda mvura ichange iriko. Saka voter party inokupai shanduko pamberi peZANU-PF.
Tinotenda. Thank you there. Regis Fusango Charumbira, Mnumzana Regis Charumbira. Ngomgcinisihlalo weZANU-PF limzwile lapho wephendula udzokora ngoba udzokora uthe ibona njenge-CCC bazadopa zonke kodwa uCharumbira uthi hayi akulalutho abazaludopa bona njenge-ZANU-PF bakhangelela ukuthola kubo 70% khonale. Isikhathi sesidliwe nguMangoye, and would like to say thank you so very much to ZANU-PF chairman in North America, Regis Charumbira. Mr. Tawanda Dzokora, a chairman of the Citizens Coalition for Change, also in North America, as well as a political analyst, Ubaba U-Efi Ncube Maf.
Very interesting ending there indeed. Ntunga, we will be watching to see what comes out of the by-elections as all the parties jostle for the last bit of campaigning before the actual elections on Saturday. I'm Marvellous Mhlanga Nyahuye in Washington saying have a very good night.
And I'm Ntungamili Nkomo.